everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna Sophia if you're new here, and I post home decor DIY content every Sunday. I'm going to share with you guys 3 DIY projects that I worked on, and I absolutely love how these came out. I think that there's something for everybody. They were all really easy to achieve, really affordable, and if nothing else, I hope this provides you with a little bit of inspiration. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. For the first project, we are going to be making a plant stand. So the items that you'll need from the Dollar Tree are these foam hoop wreaths. These are actually really sturdy, really good quality. If you were actually going to make a wreath with these, you would be in really good shape. But what we're going to make is a aged, sort of asymmetrical plant stand. For this project, I landed on doing hot glue as my adhesive, but you could absolutely use E6000 or the super glue from the Dollar Tree if you like that best, but I love hot glue. This is the perfect project for using hot glue, so that's why I decided to do that. And all I'm doing is I'm just applying just like a line around where I know that the rings are going to be touching. This is the part of the project that you definitely want to make sure you're taking your time to make sure that the rings are lining up exactly. To help me do that, I don't know if you guys can see, but that slit that's kind of in the center of this frame, I kind of lined those up to give myself like a guide to making sure these were stacked really well. And then also you want to make sure you're getting down at eye level, making sure that it's stacking appropriately and not off center, because then obviously it's not going to be straight up top. So just keep that in mind. For the top of our plant stand, you can absolutely use the square stepping stones that like Home Depot or Lowe's sells. But I really wanted to have fun with this, so I decided to go more of like an asymmetric stepping stone route. But before I attached that stepping stone to the top, I really wanted to make sure that I painted this part first, just to make sure I got in kind of all of the crevices. I always like to paint the inside or the bottom of things first and then do what you're gonna see all the time last, just because I think it gives you a more finished and more complete look in the end. And I am just using some black acrylic paint. It's by Apple Barrel. I'll make sure I link it in my description box below, the one that I'm using exactly, but the brush came from Dollar Tree, and I did recently see that Dollar Tree is now selling all colors of acrylic paint in the Crafter Square section, which is really cool. So I ended up having to do 2 really solid coats of this black paint to completely cover all of the green foam, because the next thing we're gonna do is my favorite little hack, and that is to take cinnamon that I also picked up from the Dollar Tree and just kind of like rub it all over. If the paint is still a little wet, that's okay, that's even better, because then it's gonna like pick up that pigment from the cinnamon even more. And this is the perfect sort of project because that foam already has like almost like a stone texture when it's painted. So after I applied all of the cinnamon, I just kind of gave it a once over with some clear spray paint just to make sure that it was sticking really well. I also applied that same painting technique to the stone. I didn't want them to be different colors. I wanted it to all look like one piece, so that's why I did that. And obviously you can paint these whatever color you want that fits your home best. Now, I don't know if you necessarily even really have to glue something like this, but I decided to glue the top to the bottom using some E6000 just on the very top. Just to make sure it had like a really good hold and it was like one solid piece. But because that stone is so heavy, it's not going to be moving about. And this is how it turned out. For our second project, we are going to be making a gold gilded vase, and this was totally inspired by something I saw on Anthropologie's website, and I thought it would be really fun to try to recreate. For this project, the supplies are super minimal. All you need is some like really cool glass vases. I think that one on the left is a mojito mix, and then obviously an empty wine bottle, no problems there. You can pick these up at the hardware store and they're only a couple bucks. The benefit of the bigger one is you could probably get more bottles for the same price, but then you have to cut it. So I really liked just using the smaller one just for the sake of time, making it nice and easy. So the first thing I had to do was obviously remove all that labeling that was currently still on there. And I'm just using Goo Gone. This is by far the easiest way to get any sort of labels off. You can get this at the Dollar Tree, which is actually incredible. And I'm just applying a small amount all over the base of the bottle and letting it sit for like 10 minutes. So after removing removing all of that labeling, I really wanted to add some gold flecks to the base of the vase. Like Anthropologie did it, but theirs was like really minimal. Like you almost couldn't even see that it was there. And I wanted mine to be a little bit more noticeable. So I'm going to use some gold leaf paper. This is also from Amazon. I'll make sure I link the one that I use in the description box below. It's very affordable. I think it was about $7 and they give you like 100 sheets. So it'll take me a lifetime to get through all of this. In order to apply all of these little flecks of gold on the vase, I'm using gloss Mod Podge. It's important that you use gloss on a project like this because if you use the matte, you'll see it's almost gonna give it like a hazy appearance, which I really didn't want. One thing to note in a project like this is using a small little brush is gonna be really helpful to apply just the smallest flecks of the gold leaf paper. I tried to do it with my fingers and then my fingers got Mod Podge on it and then it was just kind of making a mess. So definitely use a small like pointed brush. I also found that it was helpful to, instead of just like pulling away at the sheet, just to kind of break up little pieces and then apply it as I went. Now for the cap, I was totally planning on using the gold leaf as well, but it just wasn't sticking well. It just kept wrinkling and it wasn't looking how I wanted it to really look. So I ended up just spray painting that, and this is how it turned out. For our final project for this video, I wanted to make a like arched sort of like mini wall shelf. I've seen these everywhere, especially Urban Outfitters. Urban Outfitters has a thing for the arch shape, which is great for this project because we are actually going to be using Dollar Tree's napkin holders. I ended up picking up 2 of these napkin holders from the Dollar Tree and then one of those paint stir sticks. You can get like the longest size available and it's still only $1. So obviously this is going to be a really small scale project, but I think it's perfect for small spaces like studio apartments or dorm rooms, or even in a little girl's nursery. I think this would be so cute to like stack a wall of these and put like little kid books. And all I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of measuring, laying it out, seeing what's going to look the best. So I landed on doing 1 upright and 1 pointing downwards. The only thing I kind of kept in mind was I wanted to make sure that what was on one side was on the other side and that the center was really the center. So other than that, totally customizable, do what suits your home best. In order to kind of guide me to make sure I had enough space for the items that I was thinking about putting in there, like magazines or letters or whatever, I decided to just like throw a book in there, kind of give me a guide to how much space I'm really gonna need. Another thing worth picking up at the Dollar Tree are zip ties, and they are so helpful when you're waiting for things to fully dry, or just to kind of, even like right now, I'm just attaching them to kind of see where everything's gonna need to go. Now that I've gotten like a pretty good idea of where everything's gonna go and I've measured it and it looks good, it's just time now to add our adhesive. Now, I wanna know from you guys, I haven't used that super glue a lot from the Dollar Tree, but I know a lot of other DIYers do. So leave me a comment below, what is your favorite type of adhesive for a project like this? I ended up using E6000 first and then the hot glue. I'm applying the E6000 with a brush that I also picked up from the Dollar Tree just to make sure that it's not going to be messy and that the glue is exactly where I want it to be. And then the reason I applied the E6000 first before the hot glue kind of dries pretty fast and you got to work pretty quick, but the E6000 takes a long time to cure. So I always do that pattern first. So with all the adhesive applied, now I'm just grabbing the napkin holder and I'm applying it directly on top of where I applied the glue and making sure I hold it down really, really well. And then also I kept 2 zip ties handy so I could attach those to the project. I feel like the zip ties really just helped like attach the pieces together really, really well and created that nice strong bond. So now that I did the first napkin holder, it's just time now to do the second one. So basically the top of one of the napkin holders is gonna be like a exposed shelf rather, and then we're feeding that stick through the inside of the other napkin holder, if that makes sense. If you're watching what I'm doing, it'll make a lot more sense than what I'm probably saying. But then for the adhesive, as you saw, we did kind of 2 lines down the sides of the wooden stick, and this time we're gonna kind of go across because that's actually where it's gonna hit the stick. So I just made little markings with my pencil along the stick to make sure that I'm actually applying the adhesive where it needs to go and not just all over the place. And again, we're gonna be doing the E6000 first, applying it with a brush, and then going over that E6000 with some hot glue. And again, we're gonna apply a couple more zip ties, just making sure that everything is really well bonded together. And the glue is pretty clean. We're gonna clean it up a little bit, just kind of like taking something sharp and removing some of that excess glue, especially from the front. Like you can just see that little bit there. We're just gonna pull that right off before we paint it. For this project, I don't know what the heck was wrong with me. I was so indecisive. Like, should I stain the wood? Should I paint the wood? Should it be all one color? Should it be two-toned? Like, look, just do whatever fits your home best. I ended up going with gold. I used the metallic gold by Krylon. I'll make sure I link it in my description box below. It's the only gold spray paint I have and use because I love the shade that it gives off. What's really nice about a shelf like this is oftentimes shelves stick out a lot, which is sometimes really nice, but for a shelf like this, it's perfect for like behind the door where you don't have a lot of clearance. That's where it is right now in my home. And you can just put like letters, you can use it for mail, you can use it for books, you can use it for so many different things that are really like skinny but tall. This is the perfect thing for that. And this is how it turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked today's video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button because I post home decor and DIY content every Sunday. And I hope I see you guys next Sunday. Bye!